All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a really powerful tool, one that's designed to take someone's personal experience and turn it into cold, hard evidence. It's a method for proving patterns of harm in a way that institutions just can't ignore anymore.
If you're a parent who's ever had to deal with something like bullying, this line, well, it probably sounds painfully familiar, right? It's that classic response that just stops everything in its tracks, treating each horrible event like it's a complete one-off, totally disconnected from everything else.
And that's the big question here. What if they aren't isolated at all? What if you could actually connect all those dots and prove, with numbers, that there is a pattern? I mean, how much would that change the entire conversation?
Well, here's the thing. According to our source material, this isn't just some miscommunication. It's a strategy, a deliberate one. By treating every single report as a brand new, separate thing, institutions can basically sidestep having to admit there's a bigger, systemic problem. They call it the fragmentation strategy, and honestly, it's a super effective way to dodge accountability.
Okay, so let's talk about the solution. This is the antidote to that fragmentation strategy. It's called the safety index, and it's a system built to do one thing, really, take all those claims that get dismissed as subjective, he said, she said stuff, and convert them into objective, time-stamped data. It creates a story told in numbers that proves a pattern exists.
At its heart, this is the whole idea. You take these painful, really traumatic experiences and you translate them into the one language that administrative and legal systems can't just wave away, the language of data, of code, of metrics. It's about turning a lived experience into something empirical.
And this chart, this just lays it all out. It shows the huge shift from that old world of subjective arguments to a new one of objective, data-driven proof. You're moving away from debating feelings and anecdotes, and instead you're presenting cold, hard facts. It's the difference between saying, I feel unsafe, and proving a 272% increase in hostile incidents. You just can't argue with that.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, the whole system is built around 5 core metrics. And when you track them all together, they paint a picture of the situation that is so comprehensive, it's pretty much undeniable. So here they are. And look, this isn't just about counting bad moments. It tracks frequency and severity to show if there's a pattern of escalation. Then, it measures the very real educational impact. We're talking falling grades, stuff like that. And this is crucial. It quantifies the institutional response. Are they even following their own rules? And finally, comparative treatment adds context. Is this student being treated differently than others? Put those 5 pieces together, and you have the whole story.
Now, the best way to really get how powerful these 5 metrics are is to see them in action. So let's walk through a real-world case study from the source material. It involves a Latina 8th grader over in Los Angeles.
So, over a 12-week period, the student's mother was reporting harassment again and again. At first, her reports were met with inaction, and the situation didn't just stay the same. It got way, way worse. What the district was calling isolated incidents was, when you lay it out, a clear and really dangerous pattern of escalation.
And here it is. This is the number that changes everything. By tracking the frequency, the safety index showed that the harassment shot up by 272% from the first month to the last. It went from about 2.5 incidents a week to nearly 7. That's not a feeling. That's a verifiable rate of increase. That's math.
And here are the consequences in the real world. This is that educational impact metric in action. This student, who is a 3.8 GPA student, watched her grades absolutely plummet to a 2.1. That's a 45% drop. The data creates a direct line between the hostile environment and a quantifiable denial of her right to an education.
So what about the school's response? The district's own policy said they had to investigate within 5 days. But the data showed their actual average response time was 23 days, more than 4 times longer than their own rules required. This isn't just measuring a failure, it's measuring a pattern of systemic delay. And then you get the smoking gun. An internal district email, which came out during the legal process, just laid it all out. The fragmentation strategy was completely intentional. It literally says that if they acknowledge a pattern, it triggers Title IX, so the order was to keep treating incidents separately. The data didn't just find a pattern, it uncovered a motive. So, why is this so effective? Well, the power of the safety index isn't just in the numbers themselves. It's about how those numbers directly line up with very specific legal standards that are usually incredibly hard to prove.
Okay, let's connect the dots here. That 272% increase in frequency, that's not just some stat. It's objective proof of pervasive harassment, which is a key legal standard for Title IX. The escalating severity, that establishes that future harm was foreseeable. That 23-day response time is hard evidence of deliberate indifference, and that 45% GPA drop is proof of a denial of educational access. Every single data point is built to satisfy a specific legal requirement. It turns a personal story into a legal case.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. This whole framework transforms what is often a very personal, very isolating struggle into an objective, evidence-based case for justice. It completely shifts the burden of proof, and it forces an institution to argue with its own documented failures, not just with the words of a victim.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. This model was built for harassment in schools, but just imagine the implications. Think about any system where accountability is a constant battle, from workplaces to public services. What would change if every single concern could be backed up by clear, objective, and totally undeniable proof?